it's good. At least last 3 mornings, there's some sun coming through. It's nice. It's nice. When there's a little bit of sun coming through, it just makes you feel so much better. Ooh, maybe we're getting out of this, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting out of this season of rain. Hopefully. Anyway, last night I watched the latest, I think it's the latest Saucecast. Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway, I felt sorry for the 3 women that were on the show because they had to listen to two guys that were not married, talk so much crap. And whether their system is successful or not, whether these guys have it really going on, but boy, did we hear a lot of crap on there. Again, should these people be canceled? No, they should not be canceled. Clearly not the best of humanity, even though they are super duper rich. These 2 not married guys on the show are super duper rich. So rich. But are they the best of humanity? No. Women, run. But sadly, those two guys are supposedly doing something right because they say they've helped many men become the modern day slave owners of women. Anyway, let's get into technology. That's what you're here for. Technology. If you want to watch that episode, go watch that episode. But oh my god. Again, was it entertaining to watch? Sure. But seriously, women, run. Anyway, so high value men, and these 2 guys have some kind of they're selling a book or something. No, they're not selling a book. They're giving a book for free to teach the modern men how to become the modern slave owners of women. Anyway, that's my take on that. But anyway, overall the show was entertaining and pretty good. But I would say, Adam, dude, you have a great show going. Let the women speak. There were 3 beautiful women on the show. Whether you like the kind of women they are or not, but for the love of Pete, they got cut off like constantly. We couldn't hear any of their opinions like fully, to the fullest. And there was a lot of stuff there. Maybe we should have those ladies back on the show another couple of times to hear, express more about how they felt about what the whole thing was about, because that'd be really interesting. It'd also be nice if they brought the girlfriend of the other guy that was so smug on the show. I would love to hear her take on what the guy says about her. Dang. Anyway, so let's get back into technology, guys. Let's get back into technology. Oh, I really hope, like, my wish, my dream is that is not the kind of men that we're breeding going forwards, because oh my if that's what it takes to become a high value man, to treat women like that, then I'd rather be homeless. Let me just put it out there. Being homeless is a terrible thing, whatever, but I'd rather be homeless. Anyway, let's see. Breadboard car. And I think that those 2 men should probably go on Craigslist and try to buy some class. I know what you're going to say. Craigslist doesn't have the best offerings. But even if it doesn't, they should go on Craigslist and buy themselves some class. Anyway, just saying. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the breadboard car. We're gonna build the breadboard card, something like this, and it looks mighty cool. It does look mighty cool. What did we do yesterday? Yesterday we built the I think it was the buzzer game. Yeah, the buzzer game. And in the previous episode, before that one, we created the AM radio, which was pretty fun. And before then, the infinity mirror. And before then, what did we make? The door alarm. And before that one, I think it was the most humiliating episode ever, was when I tried to create the electromagnetic crane and totally lost the plot. On what the purpose of that machine was going to be later on. That was humiliating, but not as humiliating as those two men. His life is going to be at the very end. At the very end, those two men, when they're about to die, haven't been the men that they've been. They're gonna ask themselves, was it worth it? And if they think that it was worth it, I'm thinking a little bit that the women that they were with throughout their experience probably don't think as highly of them as they think highly of themselves. Anyway, with that said, let's get on to building the breadboard car. So this speedy car is powered by nothing more than a simple household battery. All you'll need to do is connect a few wires and basic components on a breadboard, which also acts as the car's frame. The car has bright LEDs as its headlamps and a motor that turns a propeller to make the car move. It's cool. So a resistor makes sure that just the right amount of electric current flows through the LED, because you don't want to burn out anything. And I guess you don't want to put too much power into the LEDs. You want to have enough power to run the motors, I guess. So the battery supplies electric current to the circuit. The breadboard makes it easier to wire the circuit, as components and wires can simply be inserted into it. The electric current flowing through a circuit and into the motor causes the fan to turn. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun project, guys. It's going to be a fun project. We won't get as many views. As some of the other content that is online. But if you have this book and you follow along, you might be able to create something fun and exciting with recycled materials in some cases here. Anyway, how to make a breadboard car. So you'll need to follow the steps carefully to make sure you wire the LEDs and motor correctly. The motor is powered by a 9-volt battery. If it becomes hot, switch off the car for a few minutes to let it cool down. For more information on how breadboards work, see page 34 and 35. So it's going to require about 35 minutes of your time. It says, beware, requires a hot glue gun and soldering iron. And the difficulty level is going to be medium on this one. So I'm going to show you guys a little book here. Here you go. So it won't be the hardest one. I'm going to show you some of the things there, and we'll go back to that in a minute. But for now, we're going to talk about what you need to build this project. You're going to need a Crazy Russian Dad's ruler. You need scissors, hot glue gun, wire cutters, double-sided foam tape, wire strippers, pliers, soldering iron, and a solder. The battery snap connector is going to be something that you're going to need for, and I guess, a 9-volt battery. You're going to need bottle tops as the wheels. You're going to need a 510 ohms resistor. You're going to need red solid core wire. It says about 2 3/8 inches, which is 6 centimeters. So, you want to do less math and less fractions. Just go with the centimeters. You need a 3-9 volt motor, which is those slightly larger ones that are round. You're going to need plastic propeller. You're going to need that, obviously, is going to be compatible with the shaft on the motor. Otherwise, so you're going to need one that works with that. You're going to need 2 skewers. You're going to need 2 red LEDs. You're going to need a 9-volt battery, as I said before. You're going to need one of those SPST switches, a black solid core wire of 1.5 inches, which is 4 centimeters. Again, you don't want to do and deal with the fractions. Just go in the centimeters. Applying glue along each line where a straw will go. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to grab that. Wait a second. They didn't say you need a piece of cardboard on here at all. You do need a breadboard. And for some reason, did it say it? Scissors, hot glue, wire cutters, double pliers, soldering iron. I think they forget to tell you that you're going to need a piece of foam-ish thing. Here, I'm going to show you. Maybe I just misread something, or maybe I dyslexia, or I jumped at something rather, but it tells you what tools you need. And then over here, this tool here right there, that is kind of going to be the base of the car, don't think is being it's not telling you to get it there somewhere. So anyway, part of the reason why it's good to have the book as reference is sometimes things will be missing. So anyway, it says to mark 2 lines on the bottom of your breadboard. Maybe it just wants you to do it directly on the breadboard instead. Okay, that could work, I guess. So make 2 lines on the bottom of your breadboard that are equal distance from the ends. Cut 2 pieces from the straws, each slightly wider than the breadboard. Use hot glue to stick the straws onto. Okay, so maybe you don't need that thing that I'm talking about. You can use the breadboard itself. I was getting confused because some of the breadboards will have some sticky pads on the bottom. So I thought that was a sheet of something else, but I guess you can just avoid using an extra bit and just connect it directly to the breadboard like that. Hot glue. Works magic. So use the sharp end of a skewer to poke a hole through the center of each of the bottle tops. Be careful not to hurt yourself with the sharp point. So when you are doing this part of the project, I would say, well, first of all, be careful. And second of all, it's hard to match, but you want to try to match the center of the bottle tops as best as you can. And in some cases, I'm not sure what the best way would be, but you want to try to do this with as much precision as possible. I don't know if the best way to do it would be to have all the bottle caps on top of each other and just make sure that the hole just goes straight through like that, and perhaps maybe use a drill instead, so that you could get the hole in the same spot on all 4 of the wheels here. But anyway, I'm going to show you the pictures to that first part. So again, I was probably mistaken, and you do not need anything extra. It is just a breadboard from the bottom side that looks like that. It looks like it might have a sticky pad on the bottom, and that's where we are there. And then we're getting to part 3. So part 3 is trim 2 skewers so that they are about 1 1/8 inches, which is 3 centimeters longer than the straws. Okay, so longer than the straws because they need to feed through the straws, but then also have enough volume or whatever to be able to go through the tires as well, and have a slight amount of slack so that the tires don't constantly get stuck and create friction on the side of the breadboards. So anyway, that's something to think about there. And then put a small amount of glue on the ends of the skewers to hold the wheels in place. Make sure the wheels are right angles to the skewer. And then one thing that they're not going to tell you to do, but that might be quite useful, would be to find a way, again, as I said before, to stop the skewer bits from sliding or touching and creating too much friction against the rest of the body of the breadboard. Anyway, that's probably doesn't require that much because it's basically a kid's project. But you know, if you're gonna do something like this, but then push it to the next level, you probably want to have something like that. Otherwise, with bigger, stronger motors and stuff, you may cause some serious damage to your vehicle. Part 5. So it says plug in the LEDs and resistor as shown. It doesn't matter which way the resistor goes. Okay. So in this particular case, they're not asking for a specific leg or the longer leg to be put anywhere specific. So it says it doesn't matter to them here. It says carefully bend the LED legs forward at a right angle to look like headlights. Okay. So that'll make it look cooler, I guess, in the project. So it says the shorter LED leg plugs into a hole in the negative plus, in the negative bus. Oh, but I just told you right here that doesn't matter. Earlier when I read it says plug in the LEDs and resistor as shown. It doesn't matter which way the resistor goes. Oh, okay, only the resistor. Okay. It doesn't matter which way the resistor goes, but it matters which way the LED goes. Okay. So the LED shorter leg plugs into the hole in the negative bus. The longer LED leg plugs into the hole in the positive bus. And then it talks about the battery terminals should face this way. So the battery terminals should face away from the resistor is what it's trying to say there. And it says cut a piece of double-sided foam tape the same size as your battery. Use it to secure the battery to the board directly behind the resistor. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. Cut a piece of black wire and a piece of red wire about 1.5 inches, 4 centimeters in length. Strip 3/8 inches, 1 centimeter off of the ends of each wire and bend down the stripped end at one side of each wire. Pretty cool. Solder the unbent end of the wires to the terminals on your motor. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the pictures that I just read from here. There was number 4 here. Number 3. First number 3. Then number 4. Then number 5, which would be this one. Number 6. Number 7. And number 8 with that larger motor that we talked about before. Not the teeny weeny ones that you would get in those awesome Mini 4WD Tamiyas that even had a show, an anime show about them. Okay, so the annoying thing about a motor like that is it's going to be round. So round motors are harder to stick onto things because they're just round. The ones that have a flat surface tend to be easier to do. And also you have to be careful when you attach one of those round motors, just like most other motors, they will have some slats or some slits in the side of the motor. That's to allow for airflow. Do not block those. Do not glue over them. Do not block those, or you will definitely reduce the lifespan of your motor. Okay, so cut a small piece of double-sided foam tape and use it to secure the motor to the other end of the breadboard with the motor shaft pointing off the end of the breadboard. So the motor shaft. Yeah, the motor shaft is going to have to point off of the side of the breadboard because you are going to attach the propeller to it later on. So that's important to think about. All right, so plug the red wire into a hole in the closest positive bus, and the black wire from your motor into a hole in the closest negative bus. Okay, so 1 and 1, make sure that one is positive, one is negative. I guess the red wire would be considered to be the positive, and the black wire is going to be considered to be negative in this particular experiment. On some of the other experiments that we've talked about, they didn't really care which way it was done. You could even have 2 black wires, but in this case, they want you to make sure the polarity is correct, or the whole thing won't work. Or it may reverse the voltage, in which case the motor will not be, pushing or pulling on the air the way that it's supposed to, and the whole exercise won't work. So cut a short piece of red wire about 3/4 of an inch, which is 2 centimeters long. Strip a little insulation off the ends and bend the bare wire with your pliers. Push the ends into the breadboard as shown. Make sure the ends of the wires are firmly in place. And it says plug the SPST switch into the breadboard as shown. The first prong of the switch should be in the same row as the small red wire. Cool. So you have one of those funny switches, and you want, let's make sure we talk about that again. The first prong of the switch must be in the same row as the small red wire. Okay, so that's going to be important. So, and then step 13 is connect the battery snap connector to the battery. I'm going to show you what the snap connector is all about, but it's got basically one hex, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, one hex connector and one round connector. Use the wire cutters to trim the wires of the snap connector. Strip about 1/4 inches, half centimeters off the ends of the wires and twist the bare ends. Then it says push the end of the negative black wire into the hole in the negative bus and the other one in the positive red wire into the next to the middle pin of the switch. I'm going to show you the picture so you can see that, so you can get the best idea. So again, you see how there's two holes, or not holes, but like slits through the motor there. Make sure those are pointing to the side so that there's airflow going on there. This picture here shows you that, well, not very well, but it shows you which buses to stick in those wires, but on the other side you don't see the shaft of the motor. It just shows you that it needs to be hanging off the side, but you can't see that bit. And then it continues on to do this, and this talks about the switch. And over here you're talking about the hex and the round connector. This is what I was talking about before, and how it plugs into your 9-volt battery over here, and the kind of connection they want you to set up there is all there for you to see. It says 15, flip the switch to check that your circuit is working. If it is, the two LEDs will light up and the motor will whir. If not, go back and check the previous steps carefully. Make sure everything is connected correctly and hope that nothing is incorrect to the point where it's burning out something, So it says the car wheels may struggle on any surface that is not flat because the power of the motor is not great. The bottle tops, of course, don't have any grip because they are just plastic, right? Plastic on plastic or plastic on wood, whatever surface that you put it on is not going to have a lot of grip. So especially if you're trying to go up a hill, it's going to slide down whatever you put it on. So push the propeller onto the motor shaft to attach it. And that is the step that we were talking about before. And that concludes the thing. So step 16, as I said before, is attach the propeller. Now your car is ready to go. When you flip the switch again, if the propeller isn't pushing the car forward, switch the wires on the motor so that the motor shaft spins in the other direction. So depending on what prop or propeller that you've chosen, whether it is better for pulling or pushing on air, whether the motor is spinning in the correct direction to be pushing or pulling on air. If the car goes backwards, you got to invert those wires, which is the fastest way to do it. Or you could just invert, just invert the wires, and that would make the thing spin the other direction, which will pull the car forward or back depending on what you're trying to do. For some reason, they wanted the LEDs to be in the rear and not the front of the car, but I guess it does look cooler. Again, also depending on which way you want the car to face. Do you want the car to face forward with the lights in the front, or you want the car to move forward with the lights in the back? I guess there's so many different options that you can have there. They decided to put it on the LEDs on the other side, closer to the battery maybe. Maybe that was the purpose to that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter because the breadboards provide the current through the system. So I don't know. I guess many ways that you can just change this project to do different things based on what you want. You probably could even get away with having extra LEDs or multicolored LEDs if you wanted to. So it says how it works. So how it works, when you flip the switch, you are completing the circuit. Electric current flows through the motor, which makes the motor shaft spin, and through the LEDs, which light up. As the motor spins, it turns the propeller. The propeller blades push on the air as they move, and that makes the car move forward. The car will pick up speed, so you'll have to be ready to catch it. Cool. All right, so then it talks about a few things about the car itself. It says electrons flow from the negative terminal of the battery. Here the circuit branches with some electrons flowing to the motor and some to the LEDs. Motor branch. Electrons flowing through the motor make the propeller spin. The LED and motor circuit branches come back together again. The electrons flow back into the battery through the positive terminal. Did I miss something? I think it has 2 3s on this thing for some reason. So it says the LEDs produce light as electrons flow through them. Awesome. Okay, cool. Cool. So real world inventions. Solar Impulse 2. The Solar Impulse 2 is an airplane that uses electricity in a similar way to your breadboard car. It has 4 powerful electric motors that turn propellers. The electricity to turn the motor is provided by solar panels across the wings, which generate power whenever sunlight hits them. The energy from the solar panels is stored in batteries, so the plane can even fly at night. Oh, okay. All right, so that solves the night problem. That solves the night problem, guys. So if the batteries... well, so long as the batteries have enough storage to keep you flying through the entirety of the night, it will fly through the night too. And then hopefully it still has enough buffer for it to start charging again in the next morning to keep it going. So a plane like that, if you have a plane like that, it could basically fly indefinitely until the power of the solar panels decays and stuff, and the motors burn out or overheat or whatever. So yeah, theoretically like that, you could have a plane that stays up in the air for a really, really long time. I do believe there have been some projects made by some very, very skillful engineers, even some RC like planes that were just up there and just circling and circling and circling and just flying themselves for days and days and days, which is kind of cool. But again, you have to be monitoring those things regularly to make sure that they don't fall on somebody's house. They don't fall on somebody's house. It's all well and good to do experiments, but let's make sure that we do those projects safely and with the intent of being nice, because if not, that's when all goes wild and lawsuits start, and then more restrictions on pilots will occur. So anyway, we're back here with The Secret Origin of Wing Chun. Again, if you guys don't know what this book is and you just jumped in along the thing, it's written, I guess, by Jack Shaloner over here. I don't know how many other people worked with Jack Shaloner to make these books. Apparently he said that it says back here that he has written 30 books on science and technology and contributed to many more, including DK's, which is www.dk.com, Science and Timeless of Science. Timelines of Science. Gosh. In addition to books, he acts as a science consultant on magazines, television programs. He worked on the London Science Museum's flagship interactive gallery, Launchpad, and has also developed television programs for the BBC. So anyway, again, this is a really fun book. If you guys are into technology, want to get into technology, it's something that is quite palatable and quite simplistic, which means that a lot of these things that you find here can be found at your local stores, so you can buy all the different parts that you want. And again, with adult supervision, or at least maybe a teacher's supervision, if you've never done something like this before, you could build some pretty fun things and put together some transferable skills that could help you in future become a technology professional. It's not all that you need, because that is just the robotics side of things. You will also need to take a bunch of classes on coding and a bunch of other things, because nowadays more and more is required well, the requirements are getting like more and more steep for the technology professional. So to know some coding, at the very least, enough coding to get you by is going to be important, especially if you're not coming up with your own coding, but you're just testing machines. You probably want to know enough coding to be able to test, or at least look at the code and say, okay, I see what's going on here, and I can fix this, rather than having to come up with your own code and stuff. But anyway, let's get into here. Let's get into this great book. This is written by Grandmaster Tom Wong, but a lot of other people have worked hard to make this book a reality. So a lot of times people will just talk about, as I said before earlier, just talk about Jack Shaloner. I don't know how many amazing people worked with Jack Shaloner to make that possible, as well as all the other things before mentioned, to make those things a reality. It's not just about the front guy. I'm sure there is more to it than that. Anyway, we're talking about Shaolin Wing Chun's sticky hands here. I wonder how many people went home yesterday, watched the show, and then got themselves something to hold on in their hand, whether it was a can of whatever, with a little bit more, when you shake it, you could hear a little bit more of the water contents, something like that, than perhaps what I was showing you guys on the channel from Kirkland. You got something like that, and you practice your 24 form. I wonder how many people did that. We will never know. We will never know. But if anybody is brave enough, which there's people don't have the ballsiness, the ballsy the company. There's just not enough people who are ballsy enough to do that. Oh, what a world we live in. What a world we live in. Those high value men, they get all the comments in the comments section because they arouse the wrong kind of suspicion. Those people sound and are pretty sus, and yet they go about their business and their lives, and they're rolling in dough. They're rolling in the dough. Okay. That is not me being. That is me being snarky, but that is not me being how do you say, jealous. That is not being jealous or envious. As I said before, I would rather be homeless on the street, struggling, than to become a slave owner like those people there. Again, may not be complete slavery, but it is the modern ideal of what the modern concept of slavery. They paint a picture. They paint a picture of what and how they would like to treat their women. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. And well, I guess women dig that. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I can't speak for women, but if they say they're successful and they've helped thousands of men get what they want, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of women who like that. They like that. So, yeah, not judging. Maybe that's what they're into. I don't know. Anyway, Shaolin Wing Chun's sticky hands. This is something of value right here. Sticky hands. Something of real value is right here. And you know what? I think that either Patrick Bet-David or Adam, either of you guys should have Grandmaster Tom Wong on one of your shows. He's been like, he's all over the Chinese media. He's all over the Chinese media. He's not so well known in America, but he should be. Because his kung fu, or anyway, the lineage from Omi Wing Chun and Yen Kai-san and Sam Nung is a well known kept secret. This is just a few people who know about this. But anyway, so hey, if you guys are watching the show, you're probably not watching the show, but if you are watching the show, you should consider bringing on Grandmaster Tom Wong. I mean, I don't know if he will show up or not, because he's a he's a he's a very nice person, and also a humble person, and also a kind of person who doesn't really like to stir the pot. So I'm not sure if he would agree to be on the show, but it would be nice to have him on the show. It'd be great to have him on the show. Whether, you know, valutainment in general, whether it's like Patrick, Bet David, or on Adam, because that is a really high value man. Not those two guys, but anyway, again, snark aside, those guys make the dough, and when you make the dough and you are so, you know, that the dough buys you freedom, the dough buys you respect, and the dough buys you whatever lady you want, apparently. But they got a lot of eye rolls from some top women out there. So I don't know. The verdict hasn't been in yet. It's not there yet. We'll see. So anyway, going back to this, and again, as I said before, this is a great book, guys. If you don't have this book, and you know, also Patrick Bet David prides himself on reading a lot and all that good stuff. Maybe he should take a look at this. He definitely can afford to buy himself one of these things. So, hey, jump in. And if, you know, Grandmaster Tom Wong decides to agree to go on to that show, that'd be a good thing. That'd be a good thing for the world, I'd say. So anyway, Shaolin Wing Chun's Sticky Hands. Shaolin Wing Chun students train in preparation for presumed scenarios, and they have clearly defined counters and attacks for scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, and so on. Some of the presumed scenarios that Shaolin students train for are direct attacks, combination progressive attacks, and counterattacks. Students practice such scenarios until their reactions become second nature. In addition, students also train with weights to enhance brute force and head-on exchanges. This type of training is part of Shaolin principle theory, which isolates a movement and creates a name for each movement. For example, one movement in one direction can have one name, but then a counter-strike. In another direction, using the same movement can have another name. These presumed counter techniques are practiced repeatedly until mastery. One of the most commonly known Shaolin training drills, 3 forearm clashing, is a good example of Shaolin Kung Fu. The 3 forearm clashing is a type of combination blocking drills, and the purpose of combination blocking drills is to counter high-low left and right gate attacks. Furthermore, a good example of the trapping sticking hands in Shaolin Wing Chun are combinations of Pak Sao, Tan Sao, Lap Sao, Back Fist, Chun Choi, double Pak Sao, and using Huan Sao to counter Pak Sao. Anyway, I've butchered, now that I've gone and humiliated myself and butchered every single one of the beautiful Chinese names, and if you listen to a Chinese man or woman speak these things, they will sound beautiful. I sadly am tone deaf when it comes to learning the Chinese language. I am completely tone deaf. So if somebody who is experienced in the beautiful Chinese language would like to create a video for each one of these terms on their channel and say, you know, like, this is how you say it properly, blah, blah, blah. This is what it means, blah, blah, blah. And then post a link onto this channel. That'd be a great thing for humanity and whoever watches the show. Okay, so with that said, let's continue on. Their counters usually follow preset movements because they rely on presumed human reactions to an opponent's actions. These movements serve as the prelude to trapping or isolating an opponent's movement and are followed by a finishing blast. Speed and power in each execution is emphasized visually. Perfect execution of a technique means proper hand and body positioning, moving as fast as possible, and becoming indestructible tree trunks. So the force should be unstoppable during any head-on collision. To develop this ability, static tension and muscle must develop around all limbs and joints. That is why heavy iron rings on the forearm and kettlebell are often added during training to increase strength and enhance such techniques. Ideally, the stances are rooted to the ground like a tree trunk. So when you do certain things, you want to have a nice posture on the ground, and some people will do the pigeon step, which is bringing your knees together and pushing your ankles and feet a little bit further out apart so that you can be like a tree trunk, but not so fixed in space that you can't move. The idea is that, yes, you are in there. You could even dig in to the ground with your toes. But if you do need to lift a foot or something, you can still do it quite easily, and you're not in like a stance where you can't really, you're very static in the way that you move around. But anyway, so differences between hand conditioning. All right, let's get into some hand conditioning here. Ooh, exciting. So Aomei Win Chung's hand conditioning and the Devil's Claw. So Yenkai-san was nicknamed the Devil's Claw. His grasps were inescapable. His hands had great sensitivity like his opponent's own shadows. In addition, the red sand palm conditioning made them even more formidable. At first glance, the method of training red sand palm appears very similar to the Shaolin method of iron palm conditioning, finger strengthening and hand bones thickening. Both methods involve herbal treatment and striking hard objects. However, the differences between the methods lie in the herbal formula, Qigong, and the strong but deceptive energy practice that red sand palm utilizes to create tougher palms while maintaining sensitivity and flexibility. The herbs used for training the red sand palm help prevent common side effects like microbone fractures, calcium deposits, blood clots, and arthritis that occur in such training. So with all the training that there is when you're practicing martial arts, there will be a lot of that I just talked about, especially the microfractures that happen within your system. So with taking these ointments and stuff, that reduces all of that issue, as well as the blood clots that can happen, which can be really, really, really bad. A lot of people do their palm strikes. But they do them incorrectly, and a lot of the times they end up hitting this palm bit right here, this palm part here of the this basically the fat part of your thumb here, this big muscle bit. You're not supposed to do that. If you do that, even if you're trying to strengthen this part of the palm, and people will strengthen that part of their hand, but that is very bad. That is very bad, and also could lead to you damaging your thumb and everything that goes in within there, like tendons and all that stuff. So the palm strikes should, for the most part, rely on hitting, if you see my pinky here, but just below the pinky, but more to the right of the pinky. That sort of area there is where you want to be practicing your palm strikes on, and a lot of people just do it wrong, and they just go like this and like this and this, and eventually some even use this part here more than the other part. And if you do all the wrong stuff, you could just definitely decrease your lifespan. But again, a lot of people don't know this stuff, or they've been taught by a fake master, and so well, do what you want, but eventually you're going to decrease your lifespan. So the red sand palm helps lay the foundation for advanced weapon applications as well, and is part of the secret training legacy that Yenkai-san inherited from General Feng Xiuqing. Feng Xiuqing was proficient with multiple weapons, including the long staff and spear for long-range weapon combat and double sword for close-range weapon combat. He was also skilled with darts. So my teacher, says the author, Sifu Samnung, was not able to practice the darts for personal reasons. However, I was intrigued as it was part of the history and legacy from Yenkai-san. As a result, my teacher Sifu Samnung agreed to let me carry on this journey. I felt fortunate and honored to learn the iron finger and darts training. See pictures above of my one thumb push-up and darts for my teacher Sifu Samnam. So he's talking about going back to, I think, page 237. Wait, what? It's not back because we're on page 161. That's how stupid I am. I am such a pathetic loser. Anyway, let's see, 237. What? The book only goes to 231. So anyway, okay, and that is why I can't be a decent technology professional or a decent entrepreneur or anything like that. And I can't be a rich guy, basically. Can't be a high value rich guy because I can't read and understand math. So okay, anyway, and with that said, there were a couple of pictures of sense. Anyway, these are the darts, whatever. I talked about the Yenkai-san style darts. I could go by pictures and find stuff, but that'll take a long time. Long time. Anyway, so that's beside the point and not really interesting or important. So let's go through. So it says, throughout history, it has been common for many top masters to mistreat their hands during the training and conditioning process and end up with stiff and damaged hands, joints, pains, and heart attacks. Yes, again, if you create a blood clot in the wrong part of the system, you could eventually overpower the heart. The heart is not able to push blood properly through the system, and that could lead to a heart attack. And one of the things my dad did as an idealist back in the day was create his. He's working on these special stents that were supposed to help people with heart conditions continue on their life and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm not going to go into details. You guys can go check out what Bio3 research was all about. Bio3 research, or research. He used to call it research, but it was like Bio3 research. Anyway, in contrast, proper training and conditioning has many health benefits and improves internal organ functions through the stimulation of all nerve endings. So, for example, Samnung was famous for his bone and joint treatments for torn ligaments, bone fractures, and arthritis. In fighting, finger conditioning creates stronger pressure point attacks, controls the opponent's joints, and lays an important foundation for advanced training. However, in healing, it can be used for acupressure as well. So I'm going to show you a couple of cool things here because I keep talking about how Master Tom Wong has a YouTube channel. Here it is. Here it be. I don't know. That was just bad. Let's see if I can do a better job for you guys so you guys can see it. I'll also maybe post some links at some point and stuff. But there's a particular video, I guess, that he wants you guys to see. And we will switch over the camera to this way. And this seems to work better. Okay. See if I can do this for you guys. So as you can see here, it is Tom Wong Wing Chun and then push. So it says 0.9 YouTube video. So basically go to that part there of the YouTube video. March 5, 2011. HTTPS, I think it's colon, or is it basically the two dots and / www.youtube.com/watch $V equals F lowercase G uppercase go, the word go, L uppercase underscore U capital T capital F capital T capital 8. Says, as mentioned above, hands and finger conditioning can cause blood clots that increase the risks of heart attacks. So I guess he has a video on that over there. Go check it out. Go check it out. Don't always be that guy that follows and watches the other Tom Wong, the guy with the bald hair, with an English accent that swears all day long. I know that stuff's entertaining. I know you want to watch it. I know your eyeballs, just are bursting for it. That's all you want to do is just open your eyes and watch that stuff. But it's not necessarily useful for you in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, with that said, let's continue on with the book. So it can be used for acupressure treatment for many pain and ailments that are caused by acid buildup, poor circulation, low qi, and other causes. Again, when you do a lot of exercise, one of the things that will happen to you is you will build the lactic acid in your muscles and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. Since I changed basically over to the vegan diet, that rarely happens to me at all. I barely ever have any issues with lactic acid buildup, which I used to have all the time. And it was, oh man, I just did not like going through that. And sometimes it got so bad that I'm not saying popping pills. I'm talking about stuff like low level, like you can get off the counter, like aspirin or any of those things, Advil, Tylenol, something like that. But man, when you work out and you get all that lactic acid buildup, it's not good. It's not good. So, but anyway, since I transitioned over to the vegan diet, I'm like, I haven't felt like that ever. And I probably work out a little bit more now than I did back then. Again, I don't like to sweat. I don't like to sweat. I will put in the work and the hours in my own way, the way that I do stuff, and I don't really sweat much. I mean, I'll do all kinds of different things like walking and I'll lift weights, but I'll draw the line at sweat. So, Anyway, everyone has their own way, right? Everyone has their own way. Mine is live like a turtle. Live like a turtle. So let's see. Differences between, I was talking about the many different things. So one of the most important things to talk about here is, as a martial artist, most people only go one out of two routes. They either like become a master of fighting, right? They become like amazing boxers or kickboxers, and they'll go do that. And some will be like, glorious even. They'll get into tournaments and all that stuff, and they'll become super good at all that kind of stuff. And they'll win tournaments and they'll go on and stuff like that. And then the others will go the other path, and they'll go the path of rejuvenation. They'll go the path of healing other people and stuff like that. It's very uncommon that you're going to find a martial artist which is well-rounded in both. And that's where this guy here, Master Tom Wong, comes in. He's a master of both of these areas. And in order to be a master of both these areas, sadly, that comes with a lot of pain. It comes with a lot of, like if you don't understand pain, it's hard for you to empathize with people who have it. It's hard for you to be able to heal other people, and it's hard for you to understand where it hurts, how it hurts, and all that kind of stuff. So some of the best people are well-rounded in both, and even some musicians, for instance, are incredibly well-rounded in both, and they'll be able to tell you, okay, well, you're holding the cello in this way or that way, and where does it hurt? And say, oh, well, it hurts on the top of my shoulder over here. Oh, well, that's related to you doing something with, again, I don't know any of this stuff. But there's like, based on this side of the shoulder, that relates to the muscle group that plays with your thumb, or that is related to your index finger, or whatever, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool stuff, and is stuff that I would like to learn at some point in my life as well. But anyway, when you are that top level martial artist, where you have both the the tournament experience, the fighting experience under your belt, as well as you're well rounded in the art of healing, man, that just takes you to like, you want to talk about high value human being, that takes you to the next level. So anyway, let's think about role models in the modern age. What are like true role models? How do the role models treat their fellow man, their own spouses? Let's talk about what real value individuals are, and what they can do, whether it's in their business, because or whether it's how they treat their family, their children, the people that are around them and stuff, their employees. What are we assigning value to? Anyway, so differences between weapons training, and we're gonna go, this is, maybe we'll do just a little bit more, and then we'll call it a day for today. Let's see. Let's do a couple of pages here. So, differences between weapons training. Ome Wing Chun staff training. So, Yenkai-san simplified the original form of 108 techniques into the bare essentials of single end staff. Talks about page 239. Is there 239 on this thing? I don't know. Excuse me. Maybe it's somewhere else that I missed. And that, my friends, again, is why I am who I am. All right. So anyway, the bare essentials of single staff application. He eliminated all the salutes. He eliminated all the salutes and fancy and repetitive techniques designed for public demonstrations. So basically, he took away all the stuff that you want to have in the different forms that is related mostly to be able to do a presentation. Like you want to show it off to your whatever, your king, or whatever, your tog, or you're doing something like for TV or whatever. So you're going to have all the salutes and all that stuff in there, which is useful for presentation, but is not very useful for learning the techniques. So if you're wasting all of your time doing all the salutes and all those bits and pieces, you're not focusing enough on the meat and potatoes of the situation. And so therefore he decided it's best, because again, one of the issues with being a human being on planet Earth is there's only 24 hours a day. Of that 24, you need to have enough sleep in order to be productive. So you can't mess with that. I mean, you can, but if you mess with that, you're gonna decrease your lifespan and all that kind of stuff. So there are hours in the day that you have to be sleeping in order to live long enough to enjoy whatever you're able to produce. Otherwise, you burn yourself out, making all the money, blah, 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 blah. And when it's time for you to finally enjoy your life, you're dead. But anyway, so the staff drills. It's about focus. It's about focusing on those few things that you can really work on, right? Instead of just working hard, it's working smart and looking at those details that you really need to practice in order to get better and better, right? So that's why he removed those bits and said, okay, students, we're going to work on these core skills, and we're going to have you become the best that you can be with that. So the staff drills review the principles of our Wing Chun and serve as an advanced training in a condensed form. So Ome Wing Chun's double broadswords. So weapons are extensions of the arms. This also applies to our double broadsword form. The blades from Wing Chun and Shaolin Wing Chun look alike, but the principles behind them are very different. Similarly, Our arms look alike, but our performances are different. Yenkai-san also simplified the double broadsword forms like he did the staff form, and distilled the traditional 108 techniques down to the most essential ones that he used to win his battles. Okay, so he used those techniques in order to gain an edge over his opponents and win battles. The double broadsword drills also contain all the principles of our Wing Chun and serve as a condensed form of advanced training. So then we have Shaolin Wing Chun's 18 weapons training. So according to Grandmaster Chen Kwok Gay, again, guys, please, YouTube is a cesspool of stupidity with its algorithm. This is not me bashing on the gays. It says right here in the thing again, when I also say stuff like fuck sao or whatever, that is not me saying the F word. YouTube algorithm of death. Please don't demonetize the video, even though it's demonetized. But don't do that because I did not say the F word. Oh gosh, it's hard being a YouTuber today. It's hard being a YouTuber today. It's like it's got to be hard. Also, like if you're trying to make like sort of kid-friendly content, but not crazy kid-friendly content or something. You know, like it's just hard. Whatever you're trying to make, whether it is like the kid-friendly content or the non-kid-friendly content, what are you trying to do here? It's just the algorithm will pick on all kinds of stuff. So part 4, health and diets. Health and diets is a big thing also in martial arts. If you don't have the right amount of nutrients in your system when you are practicing, if you have too much animal fat in your system, people don't want to admit to this, but if you have too much animal fat in your system, again, my grandmother lived almost to 100 years old. Did she eat meat? Yes, she ate meat, but it was in limited quantities, especially when she was in charge of cooking for herself. Later on in life, she was no longer able to observe her usual diet because, you know, she got dementia. She couldn't remember things, so she was given someone else to take care of her and give her stuff. So she could not uphold the same kind of strict diet that she was on before. She possibly could have lived even longer, but again, if you have dementia, like seriously, if I ever get dementia, I'm probably going to ask somebody to please put me out of my misery right away if I get to those levels of dementia, because it just, you know, that's just not a way to live. That is just not a way to live. But anyway, that's just trying to say, like, if you can keep your mental wellness and you can limit the amount of animal fat that goes into your body, you could live literally like some of these kung fu masters. Again, I'm not saying cut meat completely from your diet, but limit the amount of fat that goes into your body. You could live to some of the crazy years, like 100 and past 100, and some people can go even as far as we've heard of people have gone of like 115, 16, 20 years old. That's doable. But limit that, because if you don't, and again, one of the things that I like to stress out, just to stress about the vegan diet is, one of the cool things is as an individual on the vegan diet, most of the time, what you're worrying about, like, oh, I look fat. Well, yeah, I look fat. I'm a fat vegan. Okay, I get it. But the reason why I look fat is excessive water retention, right? Excessive water retention. If you are vegan and you want to do a photo shoot, just drop your water and food intake for 2 days. You're good to go. Your abs are back. Can you do that on a meat diet? No. When I was on a meat diet, if I want to do the same thing, I had to work out and put in at least a couple of months of work and reduce how much I eat and all that stuff. And it would still not be that good. But like on a vegan diet, and again, I don't recommend you guys do this, but all I'm trying to say is just point out the differences about the two diets. You let's say you have a photo shoot, you just drop food and water for 2 days, your abs are back. That's the difference between the vegan diet and the being on a strictly meat diet, or a bunch of the other diets too. There's worse diets out there than just meat diet as well. It just depends how you do your diets. But I'm just saying, that's one of the good things about the vegan diet. And you don't even have to cut food for or food and water for that. You could just go on a 1 meal per day diet as a vegan, and that'll work. That'll work too. You can't do that for 2 days. You're gonna do like a one meal per day diet. If you do a 1 meal per day diet for, let's say, I think what I did once was I went on the 1 meal per day diet for like a month. Okay, so do that and you'll get your and I did no exercise in that case. I did no exercise. If you add exercise to it, it'll be a lot faster. But let's say you don't like exercise and you don't want to work out. You could go on the 1 meal per day diet, which is basically eat as much food, vegan food, and drink as much as you want in 1 meal only per day, and do that for a month, and then you'll see your abs. Again, if you've never had abs to begin with, like if you built your abs as a youngin, so at one point in your life you had abs, that'll bring your abs back. If you've never had abs to begin with, then you have to build your abs first, otherwise this doesn't work. But anyway, that is one of the cool things about the vegan diet. Again, there's a lot of negative that goes with the vegan diet. Like a lot of people will say, well, then you feel tired all the time. The energy storage is not as good. I always feel like overwatered if I don't exercise, which is true. I feel like I have to pee like 25 times a day. There's a lot of things that are negative about the vegan diet. But as I said before, everybody has to figure out their balance, and there's going to be trade-offs no matter what you do. So this is what worked for me. What works for you works for you. I ain't judging. I'm just saying. Okay, so Shaolin Wing Chun's 18 weapons training according to Grandmaster Chen Kwok Ge. Again, guys, watch out. I'm not doing anything. This is just his name. And again, here you go. And I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it in Chinese either. So, all right. So, Ome, rejuvenation, qigong, and health. Right. So, health and diet together. Since Yenkai-san had asthma from childhood and was especially prone to fatigue, he adopted Ome qigong exercises to strengthen his weak body and counter the side effects of taking too much medicine. Ome qigong also helped rejuvenate his body and qi after intensive exercise and training. It enabled Wenkai-san to go through the tough and conditioning that developed his shadowless kicks and iron fingers that earned him the nickname of Devil's Claw. Years later, my teacher, Sifu Samnang, still remembered how Yenkai-san, in his prime, threw him across the room with only one hand and one leg. Qi is an energy that travels through our body and governs our body's health. Even though Qi has been studied in Chinese medicine for thousands of years, it has only been studied through the lens of Western medicine recently. Many Taoists believe that intensive physical exercise makes our body lose Qi and cause internal imbalance. When the Qi field in the Dantian which is one of the lower chakras, I believe somewhere in the belly area, the lower Dantian, is depleted, the intestines cannot provide enough nutrients into the bloodstream efficiently or in a timely manner. In the long run, this weakens some of our 5 internal organs, and the immune system causes physical imbalance and speeds up the body's aging process. Okay, so we're going to leave it there, guys. There's a whole hypothesis area here that you guys can stop the video and read in your own time. And with that, guys, again, this is a really good book that I highly recommend, written by a really nice person, Grandmaster Tom Wong. I can highly recommend it. And if you guys are interested, he has lessons that he teaches at Monterey Park here in California. No, it's not Irvine, California. I wish he opened a secondary gym in Irvine, California, but he's not going to do that. It'd be awesome if he did. It'd be cool. I'd go there for sure. even if not to take practice, if not just to pay homage. It's just that I can't always get over there. My schedule doesn't really permit me to go see him all the way in Monterey Park much, which is a sad thing, but it is life. And, with life, you just get on with it. So, there we go, guys. Again, this book is available on Amazon, strongly recommended, all that good stuff. Grandmaster Tom Wong, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to end the live stream here with some comedy. With some comedy, not so much comedy. No, it's just comedy. It's just comedy, guys. It's just comedy, guys. Oh, so I've created this nice sheet for you guys right here. This is the comedy right there. Anyway, so unfortunately, none of the cool features are available on this channel, like the monetization features, such as, like super chats and stuff. I wish I had that. I don't have that. I don't even know how to enable that. If there's a lawyer out there who wants to help me out, figure out how to do that, I would be very, very indebted to you. I would. I really would. So give me a call. You can't give me a call. Just drop a comment. Email me. Drop me you can't call me because I don't give my number out to anybody, except to maybe like 5 people. There's maybe like 5 people in my life with whom I shared my phone number, and that's about it. That's about it. Anyway, so don't call me, drop a comment, or email me and say, I'm a lawyer, and I got you covered, brah. I'm gonna help you get the super chat set up on your YouTube channel. Anyway, and with that said, guys, and with all of that comedy said, guys, if you wanna drop, if you're blue hair and you wanna drop a couple of dollars, or even $1 is good enough, a couple of cents in the divorce fund, please do that. If you're a hater and you wanna drop $1 in the hate binge watch fund, put that in there. If you're a red-blooded alpha conservative, put $1 in the be your own man fund. And if you are a libertarian and everything in between, drop $1 in there for comedy relief. And with that, guys, I'm gonna leave you and see you all tomorrow. Take care, guys.